what you asked for, New Yorkers. You're about to find out.
Amen.
FAFO, they're in the finding out portion of that right about now. Steve Ruber, really good. Talk to you tomorrow. All right, folks.
All right.
4 o'clock. We were talking about this market meltdown, another one, big down day on Thursday. On Tuesday during the election when they see Mamdani was clearly going to be the winner there. And then another big one down. We have 500 down in the Nasdaq. Again, another 2% down Nasdaq. Dow at 400. It was the same thing on Tuesday and Thursday. Yesterday was a little bit up, tiny little bit respite, but now just taking it on the chin. Gold hanging in there because here's what happens. When the markets get nervous, they flock to things that look promising or kind of hiding. They call it hiding your risk. They had the risk in gold. They had the risk in Bitcoin. Oil, again, down a little bit. We like that under $60 a barrel number. If you jump over to crypto, not a big bounce, a little bit up, a little bit. We saw a dip under 100,000 yesterday. It's up to 101 and change, 100,800 or so, trying to find its footing there. All right, that's the markets for you. No real news. If I had real news for you, I'd tell you why it's happening. I honestly believe it's because we have a socialist in the most important financial center on the planet, New York City. All right, folks, my first guest, Harvard Law Professor Emeritus and the author of The Preventive State, The Challenge of Preventing Serious Harm While Preserving Essential Liberties. Always happy to have Professor Alan Dershowitz with us. Professor, before we get into everything else, let's just clear this up. On X, you posted that a fake headline circulating saying that you promised to blow your brains out on live TV if Mamdani wins. You went on to post that if anyone can show you, actually, you said that you would donate $180 to Mamdani and Mamdani's reelection campaign. What do you, let's clear it up, sir. Let's clear it up. I understand the 180, but tell us what's happening.
No, I'm going to fight Mamdani. I want to have my brains intact and my head intact and my ability to criticize this racist anti-Semite who believes that you can recognize every Muslim state in the world or you can't recognize the Jewish state of Israel. And, his phony nonsense, I will stand strongly with the Jewish community. He voted as a socialist. The Socialist Party platform, which he adheres to, says that nobody can be a democratic socialist if you believe in Israel's right to exist, period. Forget about a Jewish state. To exist at all, you must support the end of Israel and BDS. So, the idea that this man is going to be the mayor of the city with the largest Jewish population outside of Israel shows so much about how stupid some Jews can be. And here I completely agree with Donald Trump. Any Jew who votes for Mamdani is a self-hating jerk, but a lot of them did, 33%. And let's see what he does to the city. Let's see if he destroys the city. No socialist has really worked in terms of bringing good things to poor people. Let's see if he's the first one to do it. I doubt it.
Professor, I lived in that godforsaken city for 40 years. I was there during 9/11. So in the whole thing about 20 years ago, 9/11, whatever, 24 years ago, 9/11 happens. We lost 2,000 or 3,000 New Yorkers. We lost first responders, cops, firemen, important, innocent people in the World Trade Centers. Why in the world do Jews put this man in office? They did. Let's be honest. The Jewish population of New York put that man into office. Why would they?
Some of the dumbest people I know in the world are Jews. There's some smart Jews, and you can't generalize, but some of the dumbest, some of the most evil, some of the most horrible people I know happen to be Jewish. Mostly they're Jewish just on their parents' side. They have no identification with Jews, including some idiot rabbis who supported Mamdani. Just because you're a Jew doesn't mean you're a decent person. And, there were Jews who supported Hitler, Jews who supported Stalin, Jews who supported Mussolini. Jews have been, over time, some of their worst enemies. Jews have supported the Palestine Liberation Organization, Hamas. You take people like Noam Chomsky, Norman Finkelstein, so many others. Now you have some of that on the right as well. I don't know of any Jews on the right so far, but you certainly see some, Republicans on the right, Tucker Carlson and Fuentes and others. It's remarkable. The only thing Stalin and Hitler agreed on, the only thing is they both said we have to kill the Jews, and they both did kill Jews.
he gets elected, and the thought process was, yes, you run on the anti-Trump. If you hate Trump, vote for me. I get it. There's a lot of that going on, especially in blue states and cities and municipalities. I get it. But this man actually gets elected, and then I think this is very, very foolish. Take a listen to what he said in the victory speech.
So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up. We will hold bad landlords to account because the Donald Trumps of our city have grown far too comfortable taking advantage of their tenants.
Should he be poking the bear, so to speak? I'm just blown away. He wants to play this game with Trump.
First of all, it's idiotic. The vast majority of landlords are poor people. You know, when they had rent control in Cambridge, Massachusetts, somebody did a study, and the people who suffered were the landlords, who were immigrants, Irish, Italian, Jewish immigrants who had 3-family homes, and the beneficiaries were trust fund kids at Harvard. So, you know, the idea of going after landlords, it sounds like something out of Les Mis. You know, it's sure good rhetoric for the revolution, but, you know, landlords are people. Landlords come from every background. They own 2-family houses, 3-family houses. My father, who earned $6,000 a year, was a landlord. He had a small, tiny house in Borough Park that he paid $6,000 for, and the second floor was rented to my uncle, and the basement was rented to my cousin. So he was a landlord. This idea of going after landlords and going after the rich, it's just not going to work.
It's fine. You want to play the game of financial. We want to give it away. Come on in. But there's so much more going on. When he attacks Trump like this, I think the federal government gives New York City about 6%, 5 or 6% of their budget, somewhere in the neighborhood of $8 or $9 billion a year for things like education, child care stuff, whatever. They could pull it back and have to go to court, and maybe he wins some of it. He doesn't win all of it. The vast majority of the balance of New York's budget deficit or spending has to come from increased taxation. Yet the people of New York, do they really dislike Trump that much? Is that what this is?
No, and I know a lot of friends already who are moving to Florida. I moved to Florida. I live in Florida most of the year. I'm a Florida resident, and so many corporations, so many of my friends, hedge fund guys, are moving to Florida. The tax base of New York is going to be destroyed, and I understand how President Trump doesn't want to see federal funding going to, for example, abolishing schools like Stuyvesant and the great schools that have produced Nobel Prize winners. He wants to abolish all that and create mediocrity, equal mediocrity for everybody. And you know what that will produce? It will produce Cuba. It will produce the former Soviet Union. It will produce China. It will produce all these mediocre states. We make it on meritocracy. That's always been the way America thrives. And he and his radicals are against meritocracy, which is why they hate Jews, because Jews have succeeded on the basis of meritocracy. It's why they hate Israel. Israel, a country with no natural resources, has become the strongest country in the Middle East based on startup nation meritocracy. It's socialists like him that hate the idea of capitalism, free market, meritocracy. They want complete equality based on whether you're a bum who sleeps in the street and doesn't want to go to work, or somebody who works 14 hours a day, 15 hours a day at 2 or 3 jobs. We have to get back to meritocracy, and Mamdani is the opposite of meritocracy.
You know, there are those, and I could agree with some of this because I see what happens. We watched what happened in Germany when they lifted their border restrictions when Syrians came over. 1 million Syrians came over, and others from the Middle East, and basically walked into Germany and other countries on the European continent. Rapes exploded. The number of rapes per population exploded because these people come into the country and they don't assimilate with the people in the country, with the citizens of the country. My concern is now we've got Mamdani, a Muslim, who's now pushing Muslim beliefs, right? And we know he did, and he has, and he's got all these, hip hop videos out there, really pushing Muslim beliefs, which brings me to the next question. Will Sharia law start and creep into New York City?
No, I don't think so. I think, first of all, I'm delighted that we have a Muslim mayor. I think we should have mayors of every background and every religion, and I don't want to discriminate at all. Some of the best people I know in the world are Muslims, as I said. Some of the worst people I know in the world.
Allow me to correct myself. Islamic.
bad ones on both sides. I don't think we're going to get Sharia law. The American people will not tolerate it. I think what we'll get is a greater toleration of people who celebrate their religious diversity. I think that's all fine. I don't think anybody that I know of attacked Mamdani because he was a Muslim. He came up with this phony idea of Islamophobia. We attacked him because of his policies, because of his anti-Semitism. And if he's saying it's because of Islam, what he's saying is Islam is anti-Semitic, but it's not necessarily. So
But he could be an anti-Semitic / Islamic Muslim mayor of the largest city in the country, the most important financial center in the world.
Terrible. It's terrible. And it's terrible that his margin of victory was provided not only by Sliwa, who was the villain of this. I think he should have left. He should have understood that he couldn't put his own interests ahead of those of the city, and Jews, who provided a margin in places like the Upper West Side and parts of Brooklyn and parts of Queens. Orthodox Jews who go to the synagogue a lot, they voted against Mamdani. But secular Jews, people who are Jewish mostly on their parents' side, including some Reform rabbis, including J Street, including Peter Beinart, including people like that, made it possible for Jews to say, we don't care about Israel. We don't care about their attacks on Jews.
But he won't, Professor. He won't start caring about Israel. He won't start recognizing Israel as a state. He won't start welcoming more Jews into the city. And I'll tell you what he won't do. He won't stop allowing immigrants from around the world illegally to come into New York City and spend all the taxpayers' money on you guys, on the people who still have businesses and homes there. What makes you seem very welcoming to Mamdani? For me, I mean, I know you don't like him, but I would, if I were, I'm married to a Jew. My wife's Jewish. She's deathly afraid of, this is the beginning of a snowball that could encompass bigger cities in more of the country, where we end up looking like, Londonistan or parts of Germany, where you can't even recognize what it used to look like.
Like Germany, and it won't be like England, but yes, it will be like London, and it will be like Amsterdam. Amsterdam just yesterday canceled a Hanukkah concert because one of the people participating in it was a chazan, a cantor, who had sung for the IDF. We're seeing that all over Europe. We're seeing that all over the world. We won't see it in America because American Christian Zionists, Protestants, and Catholics are very supportive of Israel and are not bigoted. The bigots are in blue cities like New York. Radical leftists are the biggest bigots. And now we're seeing a little bit from the extreme hard right. And I have to tell you, the right generally has done a better job in marginalizing the biggest. There's always been neo-Nazis on the right, and there's always been communists on the left, but the Republicans have done a much better job in distancing themselves. Now we're at the
it just feels
the conservatives are doing a better job in distancing themselves from anti-Semitic rhetoric than the Democrats.
I don't know, Alan. It feels like we let down our guard. We let down the guard, that we let them in, and it's just it's very scary. I got to jump, my friend. Always good having you out, Professor Alan Dershowitz. Really appreciate it. We'll get you again real soon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, folks. The tax extension deadline may have passed, but for millions of Americans, the real trouble is just beginning. If you missed that October 15th deadline or owe back taxes, the IRS is ramping up enforcement. Every day you wait only makes things worse. And here's the harsh reality. The IRS, get this, can charge you a penalty of 5% per month, up to 25% of your total tax bill just for not filing. That's in addition to what you already owe. The good news, though, there's still time for Tax Network USA to help. Self-employed or a business owner, even if your books are cooked, a mess, they've got you covered. Tax Network USA specializes in resolving financial chaos and getting you back on track fast with tools like property seizures, bank levies, and wage garnishments. The IRS is applying pressure at levels we haven't seen in years, if not decades. It's not too late to regain control. Your consultation 100% free. In one short phone call, a few simple questions, the experts at Tax Network USA can determine how much they can save you. Call 1-800-905-8000 or visit tnusa.com/RAV. Let Tax Network USA help before the IRS makes the next move on you. And wearing the shirt, there's a reason for this. I want to thank you. Here's the new episode that just dropped a couple hours ago. Bo Dietl, New York City cop, bad guy, tough guy, ends up busting up the mobs, busting up the gangs. He gets tapped by Scorsese, dealing movies like Goodfellas and Wolf of Wall Street. How did that happen? Listen just a snippet of Bo. It's wild. Watch.
I don't like rats, okay? Eric, if you're gonna be in my crew and we're gonna rob banks, I get caught, you gotta take care of my family. I'm not gonna rat you out.
Correct.
I hate rats.
I got you. Okay, so now you do Goodfellas. Wolf. Tell us about Wolf of Wall Street. There's also, Bo, you've been in Goodfellas and Wolf of Wall Street, literally two of the most popular movies ever to hit the screen.
Irishman. I had my two co-stars. I played a boss of De Niro and Pacino. De Niro's a scumbag, but Pacino's a good guy.
All right, folks, hit that. Just take your camera, hit that subscribe. Really, really, really important. Hit subscribe, or you can go to youtube.com/@EricBollingTheEdge. youtube.com/@EricBollingTheEdge. I appreciate your viewership. I appreciate your support, and I especially appreciate if you subscribe right now. That episode, off the charts wild, really, really good. We'll be back 2.5 minutes.